So go for it now. Yeah, so my name's Donna, and I work for the Pioneer Care Partnership. I've been working for them for 14 years now, all around kind of different projects. So I've worked for Check for Life, Move for Life, Wellbeing for Life, and I now currently work on a programme which is the County Durham Community Resilience Team. So that's been formed around 3 years now. It was actually called the COVID-19 Resilience Team. So basically, we set this up and it was all around COVID. It was trying to support people who've been psychologically or emotionally impacted by COVID-19. But I think you can agree, COVID's not going anywhere. If I'm right, I think
Definitely
there's a
now,
new
yeah.
yeah, there's quite a few kind of getting COVID back, isn't it? And it's different strains, so it does impact people. But I think we realised that, there was the other things that people needed support with. So what we did was we just kind of changed the name, and we're now the Community Resilience Team. So we're working in supporting people around mental well-being, isolation, trying to get people back out into the community, and just to reduce that isolation. But alongside us, we work with other partners. So we've got UTAS, so we've got workers who are working in UTAS. We've got Northern Learning Trust, 2 workers. We also got East Durham Trust. We've got Home Group, and we've got TUVE. So we've got a psychologist and an assistant psychologist, which I think is quite unique as well.
Right. Yeah.
Who are supporting. So if we're getting somebody in and it does become quite complex, we will the psychologist will come in and support that client, or they will support the worker who's supporting that client. So but yeah, it's really good. Like I say, I've got 14 years experience of working out in the community. What I will say is just the difference. Like, I can't believe the difference. 14 years ago we were looking at supporting people around kind of, a little bit around isolation, stopping drinking, smoking, weight loss and physical activity, where, 14 years, the shift it's just massive. How can we support people around kind of, weight loss and stuff when the mental health is so severe?
And so, so this session is all around social health, and it's something that we talk about in our training sessions, and it's definitely something that we talk about when we get our peer support groups underway throughout the county. So what does good social health, what does having good social health mean to you? That sounds like a very formal question. It's not
It
meant to.
does, yeah.
But,
Well, I've got a very
yeah.
formal answer for you as well, so.
All right, go on. Yeah, great. Go
No,
on.
no. So I would say it's the ability to interact with others and kind of create meaningful relationships, really. But I think for me, it's just about kind of getting out there and interacting with people, building relationships, building friendships.
And that, by definition, I suppose the fact that people need help and support with that shows that that doesn't come easily for a lot of people.
No, definitely. I think, people who haven't got confidence, kind of going out to a social group isn't something that they're going to just do automatically. So something that I would find, quite easy, just to go to a fitness class on my own, that's such a struggle for some people.
Yeah.
Even just to kind of get the foot through the door is really, really difficult. And, that's why services like ours are there to support them to do that, to try and build people's confidence and, kind of give them the motivation and get them out there.
So, what would be really good? I heard a podcast about a year ago, and it was all about male friendships, male adult friendships, and it talked about how as kids, if you were a kid in a playground and you saw a kid that was sat on his own, you'd say, "Oh, come and play with us, come and play with us." But
Yeah.
as we grow older, we don't do that. That
Yeah.
somehow it'd be some kind of a weirdo if I went over and talked to someone I don't know. Can you imagine as an adult doing that? Um, so we're not as good at making friends as adults as kids are.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
definitely.
I don't think that's anything groundbreakingly shocking to say. So if you are an adult and you're struggling to make friends, how do you do it? How do you what do you get? Do people ask you how can I make friends in your role? How and what advice would you give to them if they were to
Yeah.
ask? Again, that's a massively difficult question to answer, but
No,
just
I'm just laughing because I haven't really had a lot of people ask how I can make friends, but I have had a lot of people ask me how they can find, a loved one. So yeah,
right.
it's yeah, I have had, and again, these are people who've, they've been isolated or, even bereaved. I think bereavement's a really
Oh,
sad sad thing as well because, somebody who's lost, you know, maybe they're in the 80s and they've lost the wife of 60 years, it's not going to be easy for them, is it? So but
gosh.
yeah, I think, I just think there's many organizations out there now supporting people to kind of get back out into that community. So like you said earlier, Wellbeing for Life, you've got the peer support mentor service, you've got us. And it's I guess it's about kind of finding interests and hobbies and it's absolutely trying to get people out the house and kind of build their confidence and their resilience to go to groups. And if someone's quite isolated but they've got a massive hobby of fishing, well, let's find a local fishing group. Let's find it, let's see what days it's on, let's get you there. Let's get you to meet people, like-minded people who like fishing, who you can go and feel comfortable with. And this morning I've been to a coffee morning. I was meeting a gentleman there who, again, absolutely isolated, wants to meet people. Went to Blackhall Community Centre. It's a coffee morning, very, very well attended, just to get them to go in there. But again, for me, it's giving them that kind of motivation and that confidence and that support to get the foot through the door. So my plan with this gentleman is, get him there. We're in 2 sessions now. He's been 2 sessions. Okay, that's with me, right? Now let's him get him talking to people who are in the group, and then eventually he can go to that group and I won't need to go with him. And that's a social activity for him. He does that every week and then he gets talking to someone in that group who likes golfing, then he arranges to go. I just think it's like a rolling effect, isn't it? But I
Yeah.
think the first thing is to build people's confidence, motivation, resilience to get them to do it, get the foot through the door. Let them know that it's not scary. It's not scary, but let's do it. Let's get there. We need to get there. We need to meet people, meet friends. So yeah, I think, sorry, just got off a tangent there, but yeah,
No,
just,
no, not at all. No, it's great.
finding them groups, what's their interests, finding their interests and then having a look throughout the community where they live to say, oh, well, okay, there's a men Cree, there's a Cree here, there's a friendship group here on a Thursday, there's a lunch group there, you know, let's get them there. But again, it's just trying to support them to do that and giving them the motivation and getting the foot through the door, I think's the main thing for me, or that's what I'd be supporting them with. And I
Um,
think it's the wording, isn't it? So when we're looking and we're working with people, and it's I don't think social health comes up that often. It's kind of I'm isolated, I'm socially isolated. But I guess before you're social isolated, then the social health would come before that. But I just don't think it is talked about. It's just simply, oh
mm,
yeah, this person needs help because they're isolated, and then that's
yeah,
it. The social health doesn't come into it. Or so yeah, it's maybe just needs to be talked about a little bit more.
yeah, normalized. Yeah. So, you you might have mentioned this, you might have answered this already, but what in your experiences, obviously you don't need to give names or anything like that, but what in your experience broadly are the things that can increase the risk of us becoming isolated and losing contact with friends and losing contact with social groups? What are the things that
Yeah.
can sometimes lead to us all of a sudden thinking, who am I going to talk to? Because we
Mm.
again we hear that in our peer support groups that it's men because we know men and we spend time with men in our groups that there's
Yeah.
sometimes it's one of the common threads that we see in our groups is the guys that turn up to our groups generally they are quite lonely and they don't have a great big social network. So what are the things that what are the reasons behind that you see in your job?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big things was COVID. Jesus God,
Right.
COVID, how that's caused a lot of people to be isolated. At the time it did, and I see the impact of that. So I am actually working with a couple of people who they just haven't left the house since COVID. They're so
Wow.
frightened, they're so scared of catching COVID. Um, they're just not willing to leave the house. Or, with that, they've lost friends, they've lost family. They used to go to groups. They don't go to the groups anymore because they won't go out of the house. Um, other things such as, I guess, disabilities, you know, um, depression, anxiety, anything like that, I think would definitely could cause it. Trying to think, bullying, people who've been bullied, they don't want to go out the house, so they become quite isolated. I think it could be anything really. But yeah, I definitely think the pandemic is a massive. I think is a big cause of some people being, now isolated and really struggling.
Yeah, yeah. I was nodding along there because the things that you mentioned are things that I'm thinking. Yeah, I've seen blokes in our group, and I've heard blokes in our groups mention that.
Yeah,
But things like bullying and things that
absolutely.
where they almost the I'm paraphrasing here. It's not the exact word, but the phrase was something like, like the outside world can't offer me anything,
Yeah,
and that's because they've had traumatic experiences with vandals and things like that, and that sort
yeah,
of really shook their confidences. Yeah, I was just nodding along there, just sort of yeah. When you were mentioning, I
yeah,
was thinking about conversations that we've had, but again, I'll give you an example of our peer support groups. A lot of the
yeah.
time, the guys don't realize how common these issues are that they're going through. They think that everyone else is massively socially connected to everybody else, and there's a whole party that they're not invited to. It's not the case. The
Oh
the
God,
research
absolutely not.
the
Yeah.
research that we saw was particularly for men. Most men will have a social network of friends, and I suppose we could do another webinar on what is a friend, I suppose. But
Oh God,
you know,
yeah.
it's all- most men will have a group of five friends, and within that five, there will be one, perhaps two family members, and at least one or two female friends as well. So we the idea that everyone's got massive friendship groups and massive friendship circles, which we do tend to have as kids, but we naturally lose them through our life. What advice would you give to someone to say, look, it's quite normal, it's quite common? How would you have that conversation with someone to say what you're feeling is normal?
Yeah. Do you know what? I literally, first of all, I think when you're, meeting somebody, I think you just really need to kind of have a really good setting, like a really relaxed setting with somebody, and, be really non-judgmental and build that confidence and that really good relationship. But, you're not alone, is what I'd be saying to them is, you're not alone feeling this way. We've all been there, which we have really. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think they say, don't they? Is it five friends is really is what we have, true friends,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I might have three, so five's not. But no, I just
yeah,
think it's just talking to them and making them feel comfortable and letting them know that, what, like, this is normal, but we need to do something about it. You're not going to make friends sat in the house, are you? Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Let's get you out. Let's get you out. Let's get you meeting people. Let's get you meeting people who've got the same interests.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I do think I'm quite a good motivator, and I do tend to kind of get people out of the house and into groups. So I could probably tell you many, many success stories.
Great.
Um,
That's great. That
oh
proactivity is
yeah,
probably what a lot that push is what a lot of people need, isn't it?
oh God, absolutely. And I think it's about not pushing too hard too soon, but kind of every day is a new day. I've got my little motivational speech, but I'm just a
It's great
massive
though.
believer that every day is a new day, and we're going to come up with challenges and barriers, but again, it's little steps, isn't it? It's about making little steps.
Yeah, so great. So I suppose an advice for anyone listening would be sort of the county council website, wherever they are in the country,
Yeah,
would probably be the first port of call for
absolutely.
those types of
Yeah.
things. Yeah, great. Yeah,
You know, you can just
brilliant.
put anything in Google, can't you? You know,
Yeah,
and it pops up, and you know, obviously for County Durham, we're the County Durham Resilience Team. So you know, we've got Facebook, you've got the Pioneer Care Partnership website. It's got loads of stuff on there. Go to your GP. You know, if you're really feeling quite isolated and you don't know where to go to your GP. You know, social prescribers, link workers, facilitators. If you go to your GP, they'll know where to direct you.
yeah. Well, that's good advice. I would never, wouldn't have
Yeah,
thought about that for this. But again, this is because we're all learning, aren't we? Yeah. But that's
absolutely.
it's a really good bit of advice.
You didn't put
What's
this on the
the
email.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. But no, it's a nice one. It's the importance of social connection and how sometimes life can get in the way. When we are busy people, family responsibilities, all of the work responsibilities, all that type of thing. There's not enough hours in the day. Usually, not being able to meet up with the friends that you're close to and the friendship groups that we know will keep you happy and healthier for longer is the
Yeah.
first thing to go. So the challenge is, can you bring to mind a friend of yours that you are very close to, but you haven't actually seen? You don't have to give names for 3 months. And if you can bring that person to mind, I'm sure you can.
Right,
Um,
okay.
yeah, your challenge is to reach out to them, drop them a message, and meet up with them at the weekend.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
how
mad.
about
Right,
that?
okay. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I'm quite
So,
good at voice noting, you know, so I voice note everybody. So I don't think there's anybody who doesn't get a voice note from me. And they're probably sick of
all
them,
right.
but yeah, I think just a quick voice note. Oh, hi, how you doing? What you up to? Being up to much? Yeah. And I just think it's free time, isn't it? It's 30
Of
seconds,
course it
you
is. Yeah,
know, just
yeah.
to let them know that I'm still here, I'm still thinking about them. But
And that's all it's
yeah.
about. It's about letting them know that they're important. Yeah,
Oh God,
absolutely.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
great. I'll expect a voice note then.
I know, yeah. What was your number
Yeah.
again?